situations, things are their behaviors. Courage to change the only thing I can is me, my behavior, and my reactions to other people. And the wisdom to know the difference. And as he says, that's what most of us struggle. We love to think we're in charge of everything. And we might be just as much out of control as everybody else we're trying to control. I also sometimes say I compare the serenity prayer to the weather report. You think about the weather, you didn't cause it, you can't change it, and you don't control it. See, people sit around and complain about the weather all the time. Yeah. And see, the strange thing, especially down here in South Texas, people back in June, July, August, September, everybody, man, it's hot, it's hot, it's hot. Okay. You live here long enough, you know that's South Texas weather. It ain't going nowhere, right? When I lived up in Massachusetts, people used to complain about the snow all the time. We've been snowing for 2 months. Well, okay, this happens every year, so what are you complaining about? See, I always tell people the two easiest jobs to have in the world is a South Texas weatherman in the summer and a Boston weatherman in the winter. One thing you got to do, say, it's going to be cold and snowing. It's going to be hot and it ain't no rain coming. Right? Now here in Texas, though, weather people love to say, there's a chance of rain. We got a 10% chance of rain in the next month. What is 10%? That means 90%, but they keep their job because they was accurate. So, she also mentioned the concept of tough love. Tough love is something that's been around forever. And one of the things I always tell people, I think the concept of tough love has been misunderstood by a lot of people. Tough love doesn't mean you abandon anybody or throw them out on the street or any of that stuff. Tough love simply means one thing. You make them accountable for their behavior. Remember earlier I had making threats on there? And I had the big 3 asterisks by it. I always tell people, don't make a threat that you're not willing to keep. But you can set limits and expectations. This is what I like to see you do. If you go back, this is the consequences. Now, once you identify those consequences, don't slide the line. Because see, if you're dealing with a person with a substance abuse problem, once you slide that line once, they got you. As they say, we always used to say, if you give them an inch, they're going to take 2 miles. And you'll be wondering, what the heck just happened? You didn't follow through any consequences. That's what happens. Right? Stop softening the consequences. Don't bargain with them. I had one mother in here, her son was 20-some years old, and she told me, say, well, I promised my son if he stays sober 6 years, I'm going to take him, 6 months, I'm going to take him on a cruise. Oh, look. See, I don't go on cruises because I don't believe in that much water. There's more water than I can put in the bathtub, I'm not getting in it. Boat or otherwise. Because I think all boats have the potential to sink. But I told this mother, I said, okay, so if you take him on this cruise, I said, first thing, once you get on that cruise boat, they give away booze and stuff, don't they? I don't know. Never been on a boat, told me. And then when you get back from the cruise, then what's going to stop him from going back and start doing what he already been on his cruise? So don't be bargaining with him. Don't be telling him, if you stay sober, I'll buy you a new car, all this crazy stuff. On the flip side, though, as family members and friends, don't fall for, I call it the okie doke. The okie doke is when the addict or the alcoholic gives you stuff. I remember when I was drinking and I used to buy my wife diamond earrings and all this crazy stuff. So anytime I did something stupid and she started, I said, what are you talking about? Look at what I did for you. Remember that time I... Right? Now, we can remember that stuff from 2-3 years ago. So don't fall for the okie doke. Right? Stop lying for them. Because like I said earlier, if you lying for them, then they don't have to lie. Don't clean up after. Now, let's go back. Everybody remembers the ham and cheese sandwich I talked about earlier? See, I know a lot of women, y'all hate going to bed with your kitchen counters dirty and shit. So y'all go in there and clean up after. No. What you do is you just leave everything they left out there on the counter. When they come back through there again, you tell them, your mess is out there, clean it up. See, because as long as we keep cleaning up after them, they can make all the messes in their life and in our life when we come into the rescue. I have a brother who's was an alcoholic. And he probably had the world's worst driving record. DUI, driving under influence, public intoxication. And my sister and them would always go bail him out for jail. Because they didn't want their brother in jail. After all, he was a Smith. And so after a couple of times, my sister used to call me and say, you going to help us bail? I don't know. They said, why not? I said, if you don't mind going to jail, I don't mind staying there. At least he can't get in trouble there. They're going to give him 3 hots in the cot. Right? And see, I come from a little small hometown of about 5,000 to 6,000 people. So everybody in my hometown knew me, my parents, my sisters and brothers. So they wasn't going to mistreat him in there because he's a Smith. Right?
He was on the level vacation.
But my sister was, I remember one year he got arrested for, he had been out Christmas caroling. That's something my family did for years. On Christmas Eve.
This already sounds crazy.
Huh?
That just sounds crazy already.
What? Christmas
caroling.
But me and my brothers and sisters, we used to go out Christmas caroling. The last time I was home, I haven't been home for Christmas since 1986. It's a long time. You know why? It costs you too much to go home for Christmas. You got 8, 9 sisters and brothers,
right. You said
and you got all them nieces and nephews and stuff. You start buying everybody something. One time they got me. They know I ain't coming in on Christmas. I'll call them Christmas Day. Phone calls don't even cost nothing now. See, back in the day, for those of you who are mature enough to remember, they used to charge you for long distance calls. Now everybody's like, free long distance. But anyway, so that used to be a family thing we done. We did. We started about 6 or 7 o'clock and just go through the neighborhood and surrounding people's houses that we knew. Sometimes people just lived in that and sang Christmas carols. And this particular night, all my brothers and sisters had been out singing Christmas carols. And my little brother was supposed to take a couple of people home. And he had this Cutlass Supreme with this 455 engine in it. Boom, boom, boom. Muscle. And apparently he spun his tires or something. And the cops heard it or saw it. And they knew it was him because everybody knew his car. And they pulled him over, and of course, he was intoxicated. Plus, he had a couple of bags of weed.
And he was carrying.
Yeah, he'd been out singing. My brother was singing his butt off. Don't get me wrong. You get the Smiths together, they can make an album for us. But they arrested him because they didn't want him to have an accident and hit somebody out driving on New Year's Christmas Eve. So my sister called me, telling me, you going to help us get him out of jail? I said, why? He don't mind going. But it's Christmas. We don't want him. I said, they going to give him a turkey dinner in jail. He don't mind going to jail. But they got him out because they're my sisters. True story, and then we're going to get on. My brother, like I said, he had who knows how many DUIs. They finally, he never went to court. They finally took him to court one day because I guess the people got tired of him. Now this is, if it's a lie, he told it. He driving his attorney to court. He's driving. Now this man ain't had a license in 5 or 6 years. He get in the car with his lawyer. His lawyer said, here, you drive. And this lawyer sitting over there drinking scotch as they go into court. I'm like, what?
The lawyer's an alcoholic.
Yeah.
He knows the game then.
Now, so you get into court now. My brother has a master's in mathematics. And the judge is sitting up there and he's reading off all of it. And he says, Mr. Smith, what's this? You got a master's in mathematics? You got a teaching certificate? And my brother, yeah, so what? He said, well, then why are you working these menial jobs? You know, then we get all, I don't know. So they sentenced my brother to 2 years in South Carolina State Pen. And the lawyer told him, when you come out, I'm going to make sure you get a job equal to your education. Yeah. So there goes my little brother. My little brother about that high, weigh about 100 pounds if you put 2 cement blocks in his back pocket. So I'm happy because I know they do some good drug treatment in prison. And about 2 or 3 months later, I come home from work one day, and my wife says, your brother called. Well, I got 3 brothers. I'm like, who? He said, Charles. I said, Charles is in prison. I mean, better not be calling me collect. I mean, you know better. I don't play that. He said, no, he wants you to call him at your mama's house. My mama's house. Did something happen? So I called him. He, hey, man, what's up? I said, what the hell you doing home? They let me go. Hold up, Charlie. Just 3 months ago, you told me they were going to lock you up for 2 years. What happened? He said, well, when he got to the classification thing, they found out that he had a master's degree and he was a certified teacher. So they kept him there to help.
So they were just processing him.
Yeah. And then he started identifying people who need to get their GEDs, and he started doing it. So after 3 months, they gave him credit for time served, and they let him go. I'm like, what kind of prison is that? He said, they know, this Charles Smith, they knew him. I'm like, here you go again.
Did he get a job too, Smitty, you said? Didn't they
never gave him a job. I don't know how he did. Oh, no, because he came to Texas.
Yes, didn't they want
because my mother and my sister said, we're going to send him out there with you so you can fix him.
So they were pulling that. Let's readjust.
Geographical cues. Yeah. So families do it. They think they're doing what's good for the person, but the only thing they're doing is running away from the problem. See, the other thing I tell people about alcoholism and drug addiction, and I use the words interchangeably, unless you're the person who has it, it makes absolutely no sense to you. Why do they keep doing this to themselves? If you was to ask them, they'd tell you, oh, remember when I said we started this, we all got here by accident. And it's just a bigger mystery to the person with the substance abuse problem as it is for the innocent family members. One of the things I tell family members is this: number one, you're not responsible for their addiction. You didn't cause it. Don't let them tell you, if you was nicer to me, you didn't talk to me like that, woe is me, woe is me. You know, I'm stressed out for my job. Nobody on my job like me. But we can come up with, I use the word we because I used to be there too. We can come up with 1,001 excuses for why we doing stuff. And hope you listen to it. Hope you walk away and say, oh, poor sweet. So family members get caught up in this BS just like the rest of us. And they don't know how they got here. But one of the things I try to tell family members, friends, concerned others is this: you can't fix them. You can be supportive. You can be there to help them when they're having a rough day. But you cannot fix them. One of the things that I always tell my patients to come through, there's no magic pill, no magic shot, no magic words for alcoholism or drug addiction, except one, complete abstinence. Now, right at the end of this video, she had that little diagram, somebody drew that thing, and I always like to say, if you're tired of the roller coaster ride, get off. You have that right. If you're tired of this up and down, I'm not telling anybody to leave anybody or divorce anybody or whatever. I'm just saying, every family member has one responsibility when it comes to dealing with an addict and alcohol. Take care of yourself and the rest of your family. Accept the fact that you can be supported, but you can't change them. You can't make them stop. Other thing, though, is don't buy into their BS. Because addicts and alcoholics can sell you a heart-rending story in a heartbeat. Or if they just don't want to be bothered, they just say, the infamous, I don't know. But the other thing, we call it release from love. Separate the person from the behavior. As I like to say, you love that person. If you didn't, you wouldn't still be there. It's the behavior that gets you upset. The behavior that's mystifying to you. So, that's the end of this song and dance. Anybody got any questions or comments right now? Yes, sir.
You said abstinence? What's abstinence?
Don't use nothing. Drink Big Red.
Okay.
Drink water. Iced tea. No, I ain't gonna say go to Starbucks. I hate Starbucks. Go to McDonald's and buy some coffee or something.
Okay.
That's been proven for you, right, Smitty?
What?
Abstinence. Well, for a majority of addicts.
Well, see, sober people is that they don't drink or use.
Right.
Right? That's abstinence. You look back there, you see 32 years worth of sobriety coins. And I always tell people that nobody just woke up one day and drove by my house and say, here's 32 years of coins. I had to put every single day in for all 32 years to earn those coins. But it was worth it. If my wife was here, believe me, she would love to be here. I banned her from coming here. She would tell you all kind of fascinating stories. But she can also tell you about what we've been through for the last 32 years and how great it's been. Yes, sir.
Excuse me, I'm sorry. That picture in the roller coaster, this is what's so confusing to me, is that if I was Raquel, because I feel like that.
All right.
I feel like a roller coaster. And I do want to get off. And I'm getting ready to be 50. I'm tired from being 50, I'm tired. And then living like this, I'm tired. And if I tell her that, she can hear what I'm saying as a threat. But I'm not trying to make it as a threat.
No,
I'm just trying to let
your
you know
truth.
how I feel.
But that's your feeling.
But what's confusing to me is when I see the don't threat. I'm not threatening, I'm just saying how I feel.
Okay.
But I can understand that she's thinking, oh, he's going to divorce me, he's going to take the kids.
But
and what I've told her is like, I haven't done any of that. I'm just trying to express how I feel.
And see, here's the thing. This is what I call the dance of addiction. A lot of times when you express your true and honest feel, like you said, the addict or alcoholic takes it for a threat. As though they're threatening me. They're going to lead me. Dun, 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 dun. And I would sometimes remind people, that's the way you heard what I said. Take the time to explain. I'm not threatening anything. I'm just telling you I'm tired. And I would love it if you start making changes. Right? When I got sober, my wife and I have been married 43 years. I've been sober 32. So that means for 11 years she dealt with the insanity. One of the things that I asked her after I'd been sober a year or two, I said, I just got to ask her, say, are you crazier than I am? Well, why did you hang around that long? You know what she told me? She says, I always saw the good in you. I was just waiting for you to figure it out. I said, but I wasn't going nowhere. Or she likes to say, I had too much invested in you. What the hell you had invested in me? But sometimes just to being able to have that conversation and understanding that it's not about making threats, it's about voicing my opinion and making known my expectation. Right? I think it was last week, or was a week before last, we talked about the principles of conflict resolution. One of the primary principles, the first principle is to accept that there's a problem in this relationship. Then we have to be able to talk about what's the problem. Because, trust me, it's just like, there's a picture of that one of my patients, Ann's daughter, drew me last year. I told her I was going to put it up on the board this week. And that's her interpretation of me. I was kind of surprised at some of the words she included on me. Right? But that's her interpretation. Her little brother might have drawn an entirely different picture. They both saw me. They just interpreted me. So sometimes when we sit down and honestly talk about what's going on with us, we always got to accept the fact that the two of us may not see the same way, So now we need to discuss where are we going to meet in the middle of this, and then move forward. So what you're saying is a very, for lack of a better word, universal
statement, right? Because it's valid. A lot of people do say what you're saying.
Yeah.
On the other side as the spouse.
I can relate, because I try to do the same thing with Hector. I mean, everything that was discussed, I was check. And we've been married for 25 years, and I'm 44, and I'm on that roller coaster, and I'm like, I'm tired. I don't want to see the next 44 years the same way. But if I try to talk, it's like, well, you're badgering me.
And you know what? I hear what you're saying. And see, I come up with those quick SMITTY answers. People say, oh, what? And if somebody was to tell me I'm badgering you, you know what I tell them? What are you afraid of? Because most of the time when people become that defensive, they're afraid you're going to say something they don't want to hear. And one of the things that I remember, and I've often told this during the week, when I went to treatment, I was in treatment for 8 weeks. My wife went through a 2-week family program with me. And 2 days before we would leave, we went to El Paso, Texas, from Boston, for me to go inpatient. We were walking across the campus, and my counselor came up to my wife and said, oh, Miss Smith, what do you think of her husband? He's done such a great... You know what my wife said to him? She said, I don't mean no harm. His name was Tony. She said, I don't mean no harm, Tony. But you ain't showed me shit. She said, in 2 days, I got to take this man, put him on an airplane, and go back to Boston. Say, I know he knows how to act when the lights on. Say, now if he's doing the same thing 6 months from now, then I'll be the first to say, yeah, you made a difference. Say, don't tell me about what you saw him do in here. Say, because the minute he gets on that plane, it's just me and him again. Right? Now, it upset me when she said that. It's like, you ain't supposed to say that. You're supposed to congratulate this man. He's doing a great job.
Yeah, you wanted to see something.
What?
You did a great job. Pat on the back.
I just didn't, like I said, my wife can say some of the most unexpected things.
She made a valid point, right?
I had to admit she made a point, but that just wasn't what I was expecting her to say right there. I was expecting to say, oh, thanks, Tony. She basically like, you didn't show me shit. But now that's okay, because I realized those were her true thoughts and feelings. It also let me know that she still had her doubts and her fears when we were getting ready to leave that place. But see, one of the things that I can give my wife credit for and my son credit. My son was 8 when I got sober. He's 41 now, going on 70-something. He's that older than me. When we got home, we sit down with him and told him exactly what was happening. And his reply was, Dad, we got, not I got, we got, meaning him and his mom, got your back. But you better do what you just said you was going to do. If not, I'm going to tell you about it. He meant it. I can remember when he was 10, 11 years old. I've been sober 2 or 3 years. He knew every Saturday I used to go to his AA meeting at 12 o'clock. And one Saturday I'm coming out the front of my house and him and his buddies out there on the lawn doing whatever little kids do. And he looked over there at me. He says, Dad, it's almost 12 o'clock. Ain't you supposed to be going to them AA meetings? Just out there in the public. I said, yeah, Mike, I'm on my way now. He said, okay. And he turned around and told us, he said, my dad's an alcoholic. He has to go to the meetings. Because to him, it's just a statement of life. It wasn't no big deal. One of the things that I always tell people that my family has learned, my addiction is no secret that they need to hide. My son's a bank vice president up in Boston. When he got married, when he introduced me to his CEO, or whatever this person was, bank president, he said, this is my father. He's a recovering addict and alcoholic. First time I ever met that man, first time I ever seen him, probably never seen him again, but that's the way my son introduced me. Because to him, it ain't no big deal. That's who I am and what I am. I can't remember if he introduced me to my daughter-in-law like that. No, he made me, oh, that was one. I introduced myself to, well, she kind of recognized that, oh shit, that's Charles's father. Because my wife and I had gone up there to meet the family and all this stuff. She drove up to his apartment that night. And I saw her, when she pulled up, my daughter-in-law was Cambodian, so I saw this attractive Oriental lady get out of his car. And I asked my son, I said, is that Safan, that's her name? He said, yeah, Dad, go downstairs to open the front door for her, because, you know, living in apartments where you got all these security locks and you got blah. I said, Michael, what happened? Say, she don't know me yet. She might think I'm somebody that just broke in here and trying to get away. He said, Dad, just go open the door. So I go down there and I open the door and she come in, she looked at me, she said, oh, you must be Mr. Smith. I said, no, Mr. Smith was my father. She goes, oh my God, you Charles's father, aren't you? I said, so she almost like, oh God, there's two of you people. But a lot of times, we have to be willing to say, this is what I mean, and if you take it as a threat, that's not what my intentions were. I'm here for you, and I'm not threatening you with that, but this is what I expect to be different. Starting with, I expect you to be honest with me. If you're having a problem, if you're having a bad day, just tell me. I'm not going to tell you I'm going to fix it, but at least I know what's going on with you. At least you know I'm aware. As you say, we all been on this roller coaster ride. But we had the right to get off. And the first part of getting off is what very simple. Accept the fact that I can't make this person do nothing.
But you know those words get off. I've told that to Raquel. And I don't even know what that means.
Get off?
But you know, what I mean by that is like, get off. To me, it's just like, I'll just live my life. I'll just put my head in the sand and just keep living. You know.
I take those words, get off. It's just like I'm tired of this emotional up and down, right?
But get off could mean I leave the park. You know, I leave the park, I just don't come back and ride a roller coaster. Get off means I could just stand over there and drink a Coke. I mean, get off can mean a lot of things.
Okay, but again,
But what I'm telling her though is like, I want to make a choice. I just don't know what all my choices are.
all right,
You know, and like, and part of me too is like, I'm scared to make a choice.
all right. So what you're saying right now is some very honest statements. But sometimes, one of the favorite words I always put up here during the week for people is choices. Sometimes when we have choices, we recognize we have choice, we're afraid to make a choice. Right? But then, oh, we're going a long way now. I always tell people, when I make a choice, I also have to think about the long term or long distance effect. See, because some choices I make, it's like buying a car, all right? Yeah, it'd be nice to go out there and buy a $250,000 car. But when I buy that car, I also have to accept the maintenance cost of that car. Because maintaining a $250,000 car is not the same as maintaining a Nissan, right? So when I make those choices, I also need to consider the long-term effects. Right? This term, get off, just means you have to decide, I'm no longer just going to go up and down this ride with her. See, certain things, I love my wife to death. Anybody knows me knows that. I talk about my wife probably than anything. But I also know my wife does some crazy shit, right? Like my wife thinks that she has to buy all her relatives back in Florida Christmas gifts. I got one room in my house now just filled with Christmas gifts. I told her this morning, I said, all right, we know we got to ship this stuff. We can't wait until a week before Christmas to start shipping this stuff. Why you always worry me? I made the choice then. I ain't going to talk about it. When she gets ready to ship it, though, she's going to do it. See, I'll ship it for her the next week or so, but now if she's going to wait till December the 15th, time I spend the weekend, no, we ain't got to go nowhere. I offered to help you then. You worried about when they go, if they get there too early, they go open it. Once I give you something, I ain't got no choice. I ain't got no control over when they open that box. Right? I just don't. My mother-in-law is 95, 96 years old. We sent her a Christmas gift last year. The day it got there, she opened the box.